I never paid much attention to how I ate. My life was simple. After retiring from my job as a school teacher, I had plenty of time to relax. I enjoyed the freedom to do things on my own terms. But when it came to food, I had settled into a pattern that, looking back, was far from healthy. It wasn't that I didn't care, I just wasn't paying attention. Eating had become something I did in the background, an afterthought to my day, rather than an activity I focused on. For years, I followed the same routine. I'd wake up late, make a cup of coffee, and maybe toast a piece of bread or grab a quick bowl of cereal. Lunch was often something I grabbed on the go, maybe a sandwich or, on lazy days, fast food. Dinner was even worse, often consisting of a frozen meal or something I threw together quickly. My meals were usually consumed in front of the television, and snacks were a constant companion. Chips, cookies, maybe a sugary drink here and there, anything to pass the time. I didn't think much about it at first. The years passed, and I started to notice some changes. I found myself feeling more tired than I used to. Even after a good night's sleep, I woke up exhausted. My energy levels weren't what they used to be, and I often felt sluggish throughout the day. I thought it was just a part of aging, something I'd have to accept. My clothes started fitting a bit tighter, but I told myself it was nothing to worry about. I was retired, after all, and the extra weight was just a natural part of slowing down. But the real wake-up call came when I started feeling constant discomfort in my stomach. I'd been brushing it off for a while, occasional bloating, some indigestion, but now it was becoming a regular problem. I didn't think much of it at first. Everyone gets stomach issues, I reasoned. But then came a routine checkup at my doctor's office that shifted everything. I had blood work done, and when I got the results, my doctor didn't pull any punches. "You're on the edge of developing type 2 diabetes," he said. "Your blood sugar levels are high, and it's only a matter of time before things get worse if you don't make some changes." Those words hit me like a ton of bricks. I remember sitting there, stunned. Type 2 diabetes, me, I'd never seen myself as someone who would develop a chronic illness like that. I'd always considered myself relatively healthy. Sure, I wasn't in peak physical shape, but I was still active and getting by. But here was the truth, right in front of me. My eating habits were taking a toll on my body in ways I hadn't even realized. It wasn't just about the extra pounds or the occasional discomfort anymore. It was about my health and my future. I had ignored the warning signs for far too long, and now I was facing the consequences. "You need to make changes," my doctor continued, "or this could develop into something much worse. You could end up needing medication, and eventually you could face serious complications." It was a wake-up call I couldn't ignore. The life I imagined for myself, active, independent, and free to enjoy my retirement, was slipping away, and I realized I had no one to blame but myself. I had spent years eating mindlessly, too busy or distracted to care about how my food choices were affecting my health. But now, I knew that if I wanted to take control of my future, I had to make some serious changes, and fast. I left the doctor's office feeling a mixture of fear and determination. I knew I couldn't keep going down this path. I had to change my eating habits and take responsibility for my health. But where should I start? I wasn't sure what the answer was, but I knew I couldn't keep going on autopilot. The road ahead seemed daunting, but I knew I had to make a choice. Would I continue down the same path, risking my health, or would I start making conscious, mindful decisions about what I put in my body? Looking back, I realized that moment was the turning point. It wasn't just about changing my diet. It was about shifting the way I thought about food and health. I needed to make eating a priority, to slow down and truly pay attention to the nourishment I was giving my body. And that's when I first heard the term mindful eating. It seemed simple, but in that moment, it felt like the solution I had been looking for. The idea of mindful eating didn't come to me all at once. At first, I wasn't even sure what it meant, but it piqued my curiosity. I'd been living on autopilot for so long, eating quickly and without much thought, that the idea of actually paying attention to my food seemed foreign. But my doctor's warning had shaken me to my core, and I knew I needed to make some serious changes. One day, I saw a flyer for a nutrition class at my community center. The class was free, and I figured, why not? It was a small step, but it felt like a step in the right direction. The class was about healthy eating habits, but what really caught my attention was when the instructor started talking about mindful eating. She explained it as simply as possible, slowing down, savoring each bite, and truly listening to your body. I had never thought about eating that way. For most of my life, eating had been a task to complete, something to do quickly so I could move on to the next thing. But this concept of mindful eating was a revelation. It was about more than just what you ate. It was about how you ate. I realized that I'd been so busy multitasking and rushing through my meals that I hadn't been fully present with my food. I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't even really tasting it. I decided to give it a try. At first, it felt strange, awkward even. I started by simply eating my meals at the dining table. No TV, no phone, just the food in front of me. I focused on taking small bites, chewing slowly, and really paying attention to the flavors and textures. It felt like a revelation. I could taste things I had never noticed before, and I realized how much I had been missing out on by rushing through my meals. At first, the change wasn't dramatic, but I stuck with it. Slowly, I began to notice other changes. When I was eating more slowly and intentionally, I felt more satisfied after meals. I wasn't overeating or reaching for snacks later on. My stomach felt calmer, and I wasn't experiencing the same digestive discomfort I had before. It was as if my body was finally getting the attention it needed. As I continued practicing mindful eating, I found myself enjoying meals in a way I hadn't in years. I began to look forward to cooking again. I took pride in choosing fresh, healthy ingredients and experimenting with new recipes. I started making trips to the local farmers market, where I could find vibrant, in-season produce. The colors and smells of the fruits and vegetables made me excited to get home and prepare meals. Cooking had become a form of self-care. I also realized that mindful eating wasn't just about food, it was about a shift in how I approached life in general. When I slowed down to savor my meals, I began to slow down in other areas of my life as well. I wasn't in such a rush all the time. Meals became a moment for me to pause, reflect, and connect with myself. I felt more grounded and present in my daily life. The more I practiced, the more I learned to trust my body. I could tell when I was full, when I needed more water, and when I craved something different. I wasn't constantly battling cravings or fighting the urge to snack out of habit. I was learning to honor my body's needs, rather than eating out of boredom or stress. One of the biggest surprises was how much joy I found in food. No longer was it just something to fuel my body. It became a way to nourish myself, to show myself love and respect. I had stopped seeing food as an enemy or a source of guilt. Instead, I viewed it as an ally, something that could help me feel better, inside and out. I felt empowered knowing that the simple act of eating could be a choice to care for myself. Mindful eating had changed the way I saw food, but it also changed how I felt about myself. I wasn't just eating to fill a void or to distract myself from emotions. I was eating to nourish my body, to celebrate the food I had, and to cultivate a healthier relationship with what I put into my body. Over time, I found myself making even more changes. I started cooking more at home, and I made an effort to include a variety of whole foods in my meals. Leafy greens, colorful vegetables, and whole grains became regular staples in my diet. I learned to appreciate the simplicity of fresh, wholesome foods. I didn't feel the need for fast food or processed snacks anymore. Mindful eating had helped me reset my approach to food, and I felt more in control of my choices than ever before. The changes I experienced weren't just about my body, though. I found that my mind was clearer too. By slowing down to eat and be present, I started to feel more focused and calm in other aspects of my life. Mindful eating had helped me reconnect with myself in a way I hadn't in years. I wasn't just making healthier choices, I was building a deeper connection to my body and my well-being. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was taking care of myself in a meaningful way. 3 years have passed since I first embraced mindful eating, and I can honestly say I've never felt better. The transformation in my health has been nothing short of remarkable, but the changes go deeper than just the physical improvements. What's more striking to me now is how much my outlook on life has shifted. For one, my digestion has improved significantly. I no longer feel bloated or uncomfortable after meals, and I've lost 20 pounds without ever feeling deprived. It's not about dieting or restricting what I eat. It's about choosing foods that make me feel good and honoring my body's natural cues. I've learned that the goal isn't to eat less but to eat better, and to enjoy the food I'm eating. I went back to the doctor for a checkup recently, and to my surprise, my blood sugar levels were back within a healthy range. For years, I had struggled with fluctuating blood sugar levels, which had always left me feeling sluggish and moody. Now, I feel more energized, more focused, and more balanced throughout the day. I don't experience the highs and lows I used to, and my energy feels steady and sustainable. What's even more surprising to me, however, is the emotional shift that's taken place. Food is no longer something I use to comfort myself or fill a void. I've learned to view it as a tool for nourishment, something that supports both my physical and emotional well-being. Meals are no longer rushed affairs or distractions. They are moments to savor, to reflect, and to enjoy the simple act of eating. I've also found that mindful eating has improved my relationship with food in a way I didn't expect. I no longer feel guilty or anxious about what I eat. I don't obsess over calories or worry about cheating on my diet. Instead, I've learned to listen to my body and trust that it knows what it needs. If I'm craving something sweet, I allow myself a small treat and savor it fully, without guilt. The more I practice this approach, the more balanced and at peace I feel with my food choices. In fact, food has become a source of joy for me. I've discovered a renewed passion for cooking, and I now take time to prepare meals that excite me. I've learned to experiment with different flavors, trying new ingredients and recipes that I never would have considered before. Cooking has become something I enjoy, not a chore or a means to an end. I look forward to it, and it's become a way for me to express creativity and care for myself. But the benefits of mindful eating extend beyond just my own health. I've started to share this new approach with my friends and family, especially those who have struggled with their own eating habits. I've invited them to join me for meals, where we sit down together and really enjoy the food, rather than rushing through it. It's been a wonderful way to connect with others, and I've seen how small changes in how we approach food can create stronger, more meaningful connections. Looking back, I can't believe how far I've come. The changes weren't instantaneous, and there were times when I doubted myself, but over time, I've come to realize that mindful eating isn't just a trend, it's a lifestyle. It's a way of approaching food that has helped me regain control over my health and my life. I've become more present, more aware, and more connected to my body than I ever thought possible. I used to eat to fill a void, I reflect now. Now I eat to nourish my body and soul. I feel more in tune with myself and my needs. The food I eat no longer controls me, I control it. It's a small but profound shift that has made all the difference in my life. I now see food as a source of joy, a way to nurture my health, and a way to show myself respect. Mindful eating has truly changed my life. It's not just about food, it's about living with intention and embracing every moment. And as I look forward to the years ahead, I know that by continuing this practice, I'll be able to enjoy a long, healthy, and fulfilling life. If this video provided you any value, please like it and share your story in the comments. If you like to hear more stories and advices like this, subscribe to Healthy Elders.